Good evening, everyone. This is Dee from H&D Abroad. Welcome to a wonderful presentation tonight by a new contact. So, as you all know, when you are searching on YouTube, YouTube is great for offering up content that it detects that is of interest to you. And that is how I met Mika Thompson. And we have hit it off. She said yes. When I said, hey, we've talked about money, we've talked about income, we need to be talking about how to get these jobs. If the jobbing is how you're going to be able to leave the US, it's a different market. If you have not had to look for work in the recent past, like within the last year, things have changed. And it's a good idea to have a sense of the market and how to share your skills with others, especially when you're making a transition from one industry to the other. Or as I shared with Mika, sometimes those of us who are over 50 are extra nervous about getting back in the job market because there's been a layoff, or you're looking for a position that will allow you the flexibility to experience and make your expat launch. So if you do not know our channel, I want to take a moment and introduce myself. I'm Dee. My husband is Herman. We are H&D Abroad, where we are documenting our move abroad journey in real time. We are not eligible to retire, don't have the financial wherewithal to say we don't need to work as part of our move abroad process. So we're sharing the experience of how we are making the decisions around what we need to move. And yeah, get in here with us as we're talking about resume writing and really making the job transition. I want to say hello to Tanya Brooks. Hey, darling, good evening. Thank you, LD, for joining tonight. Hey, Cammie. Hey, Tasha. Tasha was on with us this weekend talking about that 401k stuff, y'all. It was good. If you missed it, go back. D Walker, thank you so much. Hey, Francis, how y'all doing? Poetry, amen. She came on live with us tonight. Oh, so I don't want to miss. Mika has is in the studio, so I want to say welcome. Were you able to link us?
No, it wouldn't let me do it. So I got to
Okay.
figure out how to do it. But it's okay. I can include the link to my YouTube channel and everybody could watch my videos whenever they have a chance. So, but
Absolutely,
I will
absolutely. And
be
we've got
here.
it in the description for sure. So why don't we go ahead, if you'll introduce yourself and where we can find you on social media.
Yeah, so hi everyone. I am Mika Thompson, aka Tamika Thompson. I don't have a preference for either. I am currently a omni-channel marketing manager at Walgreens full time. So I am still very much in corporate America, but I started my resume writing business about 10 to 11 years ago. Fresh out of college, I majored in broadcast journalism, transitioned into the news industry, realized it wasn't for me, but decided to turn my writing skills into a side business, which ultimately ended up being resume writing. So I've helped well over like thousands of people across the world create powerful resumes that help them get them interviews, that help market them and sell them properly to brands and corporations. I am an international resume writer. I've written resumes in Canada, Jamaica, Nigeria, Ghana, like all over. And it really has been such a privilege to help so many people. So, as somebody who also enjoys traveling, I'm really excited to present to this group because more recently I've been embarking on a solo travel journey myself, and I have been considering fleeing the United States because it's just so ghetto here to me. So I'm so
We
excited
are your
to,
people. We are
yes,
your people.
my tribe. So I'm so excited to be here. I've written well over 1,000 resumes across my career thus far, and really looking forward to sharing some informative and some really helpful tips with you all. I have about three or four different platforms at this point: Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. So I'm happy to take all of my wisdom, my experience, my marketing background, and share this exclusive presentation with you tonight. So hi guys.
Absolutely. What I'm excited about is that, we love talking to people who get it. I mean, who understand, that yes, a lot of us are looking at the news, we are thinking about our lives, and after the pandemonium, a lot of us are wanting to make a shift. A lot of our employers allowed us for the last 3 to 4 years to make that shift. And as I shared with you, I just saw on CBS News, layoffs are
Mm-hmm.
coming,
Yeah.
and employers are asking for or requiring or mandating that employees come back in the office. And I mean, when you look at a lot of the employee surveys that are out there, being able to work remote, work from home, work from anywhere is a valuable benefit
Mm-hmm.
that could encourage them to look to another employer if that um, that benefit was reduced or taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So, to put ourselves in the driver's seat, but we've got to have a strong resume. We need to understand the market, and that's what you're going to center in our conversation tonight. When if we were going to talk about what the high level things are,
Mm-hmm.
when people are kind of in the rub of should I go, should I stay? Can we have that bigger conversation before we drill down?
Absolutely, for sure.
So I don't know about anyone else, but yes, Tasha, it is the ghetto. It is the ghetto. When I say
Very,
it's the ghetto, I don't know about
really.
anybody else, but when I say it's the ghetto, I mean it was good for when it was good. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are conversations about productivity,
Mm-hmm.
but what is the shift? How can I say I have value even if I'm working outside of the workplace? Is my remote work dream actually a deterrent for an employer? If that's what I'm going to be either putting on my resume or saying at some point after that initial interview.
Sure. So I would say when it comes down to seeking remote opportunities and really deciding to go for its full speed and not compromising. So saying, you know what, I want a remote job, whether it's hybrid or 100% remote, no matter what. First things is I would say consider the opportunities in that field because as we know, not all industries, not all fields are the same. So the first thing you want to do is see if remote and hybrid opportunities are even available for the type of roles that you want to go for. For example, nursing, anything that requires like direct face-to-face interaction, that would be the first step.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't, if you are going to be making a transition into a new role or a new field where that opportunity does exist for you to be able to work remotely, then you have to take a look and see what skills do I have? How does my background currently align with these opportunities and these positions? And in
Mhm.
terms of value, regardless of whether you're in the office or regardless of whether you are remote, I personally feel like everybody has value. So the first thing that you'll want to do to try to uncover your value is write down or either type out in a Microsoft Word document what are some of your major wins, your most notable accomplishments that you have either been rewarded with at work, given kudos for, that you've been pat on the back for, that you may have received a certificate or an award for, right? Also, when we're talking about value, consider what have you done in the company or at the company that has made a game changing or a world of a difference. Did you
Mhm.
revamp a process? Did you optimize something that brought in more money? Did you reorganize something that minimized errors? Were you responsible for drafting something that maybe brought in new clientele or new money? I think a lot of people confuse value with title, and they feel as though if they're not this
Mm.
high ranking executive or somebody who's in the C suite or even management, that they don't bring anything to the table, which is not true. You are there because you offer something, because you can do something. So regardless if you're entry level, I don't care if you're, the janitor or you're just security, like everybody has something that they bring. Everyone has something that they can increase or decrease. So the first step in making that transition to creating a transitioning resume is to figure out the value that you have brought. Even if you
Mhm.
don't have a drastic figure to attach to it, I'm pretty sure there's something that you can say that you have done that matters in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. I I wanna I know that you're gonna address this, but it's a question that I think most of us, if you have been on YouTube, if you have Googled how to write a resume, somebody's going to suggest AI. So, can you talk
Ooh.
about what is the best AI resume scanner tool to tailor a resume for each job posting? That is probably the reason why I'm just like, I'm not going back out there because I don't want to. It's exhausting.
It is. It's a lot. Good question, Tasha. I haven't really gotten into AI resume scanning tools only because I write all of the resumes for my clients myself and I do all of the keyword research on my own. But the one good tool that I definitely recommend that's a really good one would be JobScan. So after you
Mm.
craft your resume, after you write it, you can always use that tool. I think they give you three or five free scans, then and they comb through the document and let you know the percentage of which your resume is on track, and how closely related or how closely you are to matching the job description post. AI
Mhm.
tools, I know that they save time, and I know that AI in general is a huge trending buzz. Right now it's getting all the attention, but highly recommend doing some of the groundwork on your own, especially up front. So if you know for a fact before you officially begin writing your resume or job searching, maybe 3 to 5 positions that you know for a fact or without a doubt that you're going to be going for, just comb through a couple of job descriptions and just cherry pick the common terms that you see. I know AI makes things quicker and easier, and it's so easy. It's so tempting, rather, to just click a button and let a machine do all the work for you. But if you have the time, I highly encourage you to try giving it a shot yourself. It's really not that hard. And once you figure out those positions you want to go for, when it comes to tailoring your job description, just change that entry level headline, is all you need to do. Maybe a couple of skills here and there. The intro of your resume should vary slightly, but the context and what I like to call the meat and potatoes, such as your job, bullet points, your education, all of those things are going to remain the same. So there's no need to have to alter your resume from top to bottom every time you want to apply to something new.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, she's saying she has been using JobScan. I have not used JobScan, but I
Awesome.
have used like ChatGPT to help me pull the those dominant terms or identify skills that should be a priority, things that I should keywords that I should say in my
Mhm,
resume.
mhm.
So yeah, I've been if I want to start by saying this as we pull up the PowerPoint. Even if you've been at your job and you're not interested in leaving, everyone should be updating, should be pulling those accomplishments every
Mhm.
year for your evaluation time, but also pulling those over into, y'all don't get in trouble with your security team.
Yeah,
But if you
yeah,
can print it off and take it with you, that way you have them, and keep your resume up to date. It should be
yeah.
brushed off once a year minimum,
Minimum.
every
Mhm.
year so that, you're not having to go back and remember what exactly were my accomplishments, what exactly did my job include. So
Mhm.
I love this conversation, and I want to make sure that we keep an eye on the comments, because we're going to go ahead and start with this great presentation that you've put together for us, Mika.
Yes, yes, yes. So excited. And I agree, Dee, with updating your resume. I normally like to say once a quarter, but once a year is fair, especially if you feel as though you're very stable in your position. Trying to recollect everything that you've done within the last year or even the past 3 years for people who leave their resume untouched for quite a bit of time can be really challenging. So I recommend keeping like an accomplishment tracker or some sort of a win tracker. And every time you get, noted for something or awarded for something, your performance evaluations, like have a folder or just a master list that you can just drag and drop or copy and paste certain things in there so that you can keep your resume updated. Really great point. So yes, a brag file, Tasha. That's exactly what it's called. Brag book, brag file, brag folder. Like it's all about you. It's the you show in that file or in that folder. All things you. So really great point. So yeah, you guys, here is just a quick slide deck that I went ahead and put together. So really wanted to talk about the importance or the important keys to writing a transitioning resume, whether you are trying to transition into a different career field or whether you're looking to transition into maybe entrepreneurship, side hustle work, starting your own little side thing to have extra money coming in for whatever reason. The main thing that I want to cover in this presentation is number one, considering the transition. So things that you should think about, pre-work and pre-steps that you should complete before you officially begin job searching, which is something a lot of people don't do. Most people will just, let's say right now it's 6:20, someone's thinking, I want to go for IT jobs. They'll put their resume together tonight and start going for those jobs tomorrow. But there's a lot of like preliminary steps and some preliminary research and thinking that you have to do. So we'll cover that. Number two is actually making the jump and getting, down and dirty into your job search, things that you should do. And then number three is just some simple resume tips for success that you should follow. So let's get right into it, y'all. Okay, so first things first is to get clarity, right? Figure out, get laser sharp, crystal clear on what it is that you want to do or the things that you want to do. This also includes the things that you do not want to do. So I'll use myself as an example. I transitioned into marketing about 8 years ago. Very little experience. And in the very beginning, I knew off the bat what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. I did not want to do any type of social media influencing or social media marketing. I wanted to do more operations. I wanted to do project management, right? So figure out what you want to do, what field you want to be in, and what industry you want to be in. This makes it so that when you are on Indeed or when you are on LinkedIn or whichever job search board, you're not just hitting apply to any and every single thing, right? I always like to say if you're applying to any and everything, you're going to get any and everything, but you are not for any and every job, right? There's something in particular that you want to do for whatever reason. So you need to get clear on the title, the field, the industry. Make sure that you are able to answer those questions. So, I want to be an IT security specialist in the tech industry for software, right? So just get very granular, crystal clear about the things that you want to do. And just how I stated, like when it comes to using JobScan and tailoring your resume, try to come up with at least 3 to 5 different titles or 3 to 5 different things that you want to do. This way, you are able to widen or expand your job search, and you're not just applying to the same job across all of these different job boards. You're able to diversify yourself a little bit and open up your options more. So, the number two would be if you are going into a side business or entrepreneurship and you've decided that you would like to take that route, try to figure out the type of services or the type of offers that you want to provide to people. Do you want to do social media consulting? Do you want to do IT consulting? Do you want to do, you know, uh, HR consulting, right? What is the service that you're going to be giving to people? Make sure it's clear, and you should be able to define it in one plain, cut and dry type of sentence. And then number three, when it comes to entrepreneurship and side hustles, is who will you offer or sell this service to? So as we all know, target audience is really, really big. You hop on social media, you see everybody and their mama is selling something, and it may come across your feed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're intended target. So if you plan on using social media, hopping on social media, even going on any type of freelance sites, just figure out who your target audience is. Do you want to help small business owners? Do you want to help 9 to 5 professionals who are stay-at-home moms and, have 2 kids or something? Like, figure out who your target audience is going to be, who your demographic is going to be. You don't have to get super down and dirty like the demographic, the psychographic, location and stuff. Like, you don't have to get that deep into it, but starting out, just have a general idea of who you're selling to. And then last but not least, for either side hustle or job transitioning, is what do you need to get started? What investments do you need to make? What do you need to learn? A lot of people skip this step, and all of these are important, but this one is by far the most important. When you're making a career transition, there may be a new software that you have to learn. There may be some terminology that you have to get familiar with. And the last thing that you want to do is show up in those interviews, if you get an interview, and make it seem as though you're completely a fish fresh out of water. You have no idea about anything, and there's nothing that you know, right? Employers don't want to see that. They can respect the fact that you're making a transition, but you have to know something. So with that being said, do you have to take a class? Do you have to take a webinar? Do you need to get any certifications? Do you need to get any type of what is it called? Not a certification, any trainings, right? Is it going to require you to go back to school? And figure out what those investments are going to be that you need to make, and then figure out how you're going to achieve them. So say, what if I'm going into IT, I need to get this JavaScript certification. It's really important. I'm going to give myself 6 months to do this. The course is $600. Before I make any move, let me go ahead and start getting these software certifications under my belt. Or with entrepreneurship, as we know, depending on the type of business that you're going into, those investments and those expenses can vary. Do you need a website? Do you need a landing page? Do you need an assistant? If it's a physical product, do you need to order stock or merchandise? Like, what's the investment that you need to get started? Those are the first steps that you should consider when it comes to getting clarity and just even considering diving into either a new career path or diving into entrepreneurship. And just some bonus tips here in regards to resume specifically is that clear direction, of course, is going to help you target your resume as well as other supporting documents. So when you know what you're going for, your resume is going to reflect that. What a lot of people will do is that they do not set the tone for their resume because they don't target it, which makes the document very general. And my motto is that a general resume is for a general job, but a targeted resume is for exclusive, specific career opportunities. So you have to decide which one you want to go for, just any regular general job. And if you do, that's cool, no shade, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want something that's more exclusive, that's more specific, in terms of tasks and responsibilities and how this plays along with the journey of your career trajectory, then that's something that you'll need to consider. Also, targeted resumes are proven to have a greater callback success rate than general resumes. And what you do should be crystal clear to whoever is reading it. Most people will just make their resume almost like a brain dump of the stuff they do every day. And when the recruiter's reading it, it's like, okay, well, what does this person do? Like, they've written out that they send invoices, they send emails, they complete duties as assigned, they liaise with, yada, yada. But it's just like, okay, well, what do you do? So once you type everything out, once you write everything out, if it should be clear to you what you do. If it is clear to you what you do, the recruiter will see it as well. So just make sure that you are clear in the things that you type out. And let me know if anyone has any questions on this slide.
Yeah, I just the clarity. It just you can go down a rabbit hole. I feel like looking for the perfect job.
Mm-hmm.
That has all the things that you're looking for. Something that I've heard is that I feel like, especially when you're making a stretch, is if you can do 70% of what they have in the job description,
Mm-hmm.
it took me a long time to realize that an employer wasn't asking me to to be 100% capable of all the things that they had listed in the job description.
Mhm.
Jobs where I was able to do that, they said I was overqualified, or that
Mhm.
it looked like I would be dissatisfied with the job for, within a short amount of time. So kind of coming back to, yes, I need to show where I'm investing in the growth that would help me to, be at capacity,
Mhm.
within the position, but that I have enough experience and understanding of the what's in the job description.
Definitely. And that's a really good point to make. Being overqualified is definitely real. Being underqualified is real as well. And both can cause you to experience rejection. So never ever aim to be the perfect candidate or the perfect person out of the stack. Just again, try to meet at least 65 to 70% of those qualifications. At the bare minimum, try to have the skills and the educational requirements. If you don't know all of the tasks, that's okay. I believe, and I think I just did a YouTube video about this, where 76% of recruiters said that skills was like the first thing that they look for on a resume anyway. So when it comes to transitioning, focus on those skills. Like, the big major wins and the fancy titles are all good and gravy, but know that technology, have your project management down packed, whatever skills that this new transition is going to require of you, work on building that or honing that.
Hmm. Question: how do you see what you do on your job as more than just job duties? Where do separate, let's see, where do separate out accomplishments, or I guess going above and beyond? How, yeah, it's I
I
don't
would.
want to copy and paste like what I would see in a job description and put that in
Mhm.
my resume as
Right.
this is what I did. So,
Mhm.
how do you suss that out where I'm not just saying I did this kind of task and that kind of task?
Sure. So if you're thinking of listing a task, think of the task in totality. So for example, I'm going to use customer service as an example because I work with a lot of customer service professionals across all levels. What a lot of them will say is process calls. Instead of saying that, consider saying something along the lines of processed over 2,000 calls with a 97% success rate. See how it
Mhm.
takes it from a task to an overall accomplishment where it's like you don't have to put those. That's like that one sentence is putting maybe 3 or 4 bullet points just into one. So if you're
Mm.
thinking of one task, attach a number to it and attach an outcome or why it matters to it. So if you're saying, organize files, okay, organized over 3,000 files and minimized errors 23%. If you can't, number one, attach a number to it, or if you can't attach an outcome or some sort of a success or why it matters type of reason to it, maybe it shouldn't be listed. I
Wow.
hope that maybe adds some clarity to that.
Great. Yes, yes, yes. Maya has apply like Chad. Chad
Oh,
is
she's right.
100%.
Yes. Chad is comfortable applying for jobs that he is 60 to 70% qualified for. Yes. And
Yes.
sometimes unqualified for. I know, I don't recommend winging it, but a lot of people do, and it works out in their favor. And I know that this may be gender specific, and of course, not to cause any offense, but they say men are like 60% more likely to go for jobs that they feel as though they are unqualified for versus women. So
Wow. Yeah.
always
Trust me,
shoot
I
your
was
shot.
some positions came open at my job and I was just like, I could do that, but some of that, I just I should be developing a boldness. And I
Mhm.
think hearing some of what you're saying about, do I have the skills that they're, and because that's a priority, um, those are places where you could get a little bit more confidence
Mhm.
that you are a good fit or that you could be by adding those skills.
Definitely. For sure.
Ooh.
And maybe confidence is something that we can touch on later on down the road, because building up the confidence in your job search or before you start job searching is also a major thing. So we'll cover that soon. But number two, after you have that clarity, you know what you're going for, you know what you want to do, you know what you don't want to do, and where you want to do it, all of those, like little things, is do a little bit of research. So on the entrepreneurship side or the resume side, again, how many people are already doing this? Just do like a quick Google search, or just hop on LinkedIn and maybe type in the title, type in the business idea that you're thinking, and see what the saturation is looking like. Because as we all know, some fields can be very oversaturated. The trucking industry would be a really good example, especially the past couple of years. Pre-pandemic, being a trucker was like, I mean, it's a great job. It is still a great job. But as we know, during the pandemic, because the world was shut down, it became like the number one job that everybody was going for.
Mhm.
Now it's oversaturated and the pay is not as good as it was before. The benefits for the companies aren't as good as they used to be, right? So just do a quick research to see like what is the market looking like for this? Is it oversaturated? Is now the
Mhm.
best time to go into this? Is this the best thing to go into, period, right? Because as we know, there are some careers that are really hot and popping for a period of time, and then it's almost like they kind of die off a little bit. And the next thing is, are they successful? How and why are they successful in doing it? What's the longevity of it? Career transitioning takes a lot of oomph, a lot of gusto. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of effort. And I don't want you to be doing this constantly, right? So I don't want you to have to change careers every 5 to 7 years. When you change a career, you should be able to have some sense of longevity. So see, other people who are in this field, other people who are in this industry, other people who are doing this business idea, how long have they been doing it? And if they've been doing it
Mhm.
for a period of time, what has helped them stay successful and continue to be in that field? Because oftentimes a lot of people will think about jumping into a field. They just want to get started. They want to, get their feet wet, but they don't always think about long term. Is this a business idea, or is this a career change that is sustainable? Can I do this 7 to 10, 8 years from now? And I know that careers evolve over time. We don't all necessarily end up doing the exact same thing over a 20-year span. We do have to continuously reinvent ourselves. But
Mhm.
again, trying to jump ship every so often all the time is a lot. So what does that field look like long term? And then for the entrepreneurship side, or even I could also say this is applicable to career side, view online profiles. Hop on LinkedIn. As saturated as it is, there are millions of people on there. Take a look at some LinkedIn profiles. See how long they've been doing it. Get the scoop on them. How long have they been doing it? Are they good at it? Have they, been able to navigate the field successfully? What's their success rate looking like if they're on like Upwork or Fiverr? On IG or Instagram, what's the content that you see them posting? How long have they been on the platform? Get comfortable with stalking people just a little bit. And then last but not least would be to have some conversations, whether it's virtual brunches, one-on-one calls, live streams such as this, right? Connect with people. We all know that the hidden job search market is heavy with networking, people who know people who know people who know people. If I were to reach out to Dee for a position and she knew like 10 jobs that I could apply for, that's 10 jobs that I technically already have an in for. So
Mhm.
consider networking with people who are already doing what you want to do. I know originally when I was like fresh into resume writing and I was just getting into it, I set up so many one-on-one calls with people who were already in the industry, and that really helped me get started with setting my businesses as far as the packages to offer, the price points that I should be, how my processes should flow when it comes to working with clients, and even getting into marketing. This one young lady, I cannot remember her name. It escapes me at the moment, but she was so nice when I was trying to get into marketing. She was at T-Mobile at the time, and she was like the senior manager of marketing, and she helped me get an interview for T-Mobile, my first entry level role. I didn't get it, but just having those conversations with her, and like I had one call with her and we would touch base like once a month every so often, just to genuinely build a relationship, not looking for anything but hoping, and that ended up working out well for me. So highly recommend having conversations with people. Take it offline. It's so easy to follow people and DM people and, you know double tap and like something. That's awesome, but as we all know, sometimes online it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, especially me as a content creator. I'll get 150, 300 likes on something, and all of that is null and void to me. But when Dee messaged me, it's like, oh, okay. And then I get to see her face to face. It kind of takes the relationship to another level. So don't be shy to reach out to somebody. I know, I don't know anybody's financial situation, but always recommend sending virtual coffee. I used to do that. I had like a career fund early out in the beginning of my career, and $20 a month I would set aside for like sending someone virtual coffee, taking someone out for coffee. Like, you would really be surprised when it comes to networking, the power of that and how something so simple can pay off in the long run. Bonus tips. Once you do your
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, go
No,
ahead,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to mention informational interviews
Yep.
have been really helpful to me because of the work that I do. I mean, we have a lot of different industries that I have considered, whether it was cybersecurity or IT or something outside of HR, the work that I do, and just to find out, hey, do I have skills
Mhm.
that could apply within, because I think I've never done anything in cybersecurity, but I knew this person's background was similar to mine. She was in biology. She went and got a computer science degree, and she was just like, that I didn't even need that. But she said, you do have some of the core skills around risk management and
Mhm.
thinking about risk behaviors around security. She's like, yeah, I mean, you would be a good fit. Being I I went in with questions that I wanted to ask. I did not take more than 30 minutes of this person's time and
Mhm.
really ask, hey, where can I take actions? Are there trainings? Are there any baseline things? And would you be open to introducing me to some folks on your team that you think, when there is a hiring opportunity, that I could already be establishing a relationship with them. And I was really surprised at how many people said yes. These are just colleagues that I've interacted with, but now I'm saying, hey, I like what you all are doing. I see you all are growing.
Mhm.
Could I do this, and leveraging that informational interview space to just test things out and as a part of my research.
Yeah. Definitely. Really good points. And that's something to consider too. Like, as you're doing your research, for writing your resume, getting started, you may find that you have a lot of those essential core skills already. And then maybe your next lift, so to speak, is getting software skills, or the hard skills related to whatever the industry is, whether it's, invoicing, or, learning some sort of an internal system, or a management level or leadership skill related to the industry. So really good point there.
Absolutely. You were going to talk about the bonus tips.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, so once you do your research, find out what makes you different. I know, we all kind of feel like a small fish in a big pond, but each and every single one of us has our own special whatever that we can bring to a company, bring to a role, contrary to popular belief. Not anybody and everybody can do a job. So find out what makes you different. And this can be a really good confidence builder. So I definitely felt that way leaving my last job, coming into this job, or my current position at Walgreens, just because it's the very first corporate marketing positions I've had. With the other marketing jobs I've had, they were smaller businesses, mid-sized companies. And so when I really got down to the point of, well, what makes Tamika different? What makes me so special coming into your marketing department? You probably have received 150 resumes for this position. Why do I stand out? And when you figure that out, incorporate it in your resume. For me, it's my charisma. I have a very vibrant, bright personality. So my resume is yellow, it's bright. And the recruiter actually said that. She was like, well, yours definitely stuck out to me because the way you designed it. And I'm like, well, look at that. So figure out what makes you different, incorporate it in your cover letter, in your resume. I know it sounds cheesy, but you have to remember, like, recruiters are reading dozens of resumes every single day. After a while, they all start to look the same. If there's any way that you can make yours stand out in the words that you say or the way that you lay it out, please do so. And then compare what others offer to what you will or want to offer. And this is a side hustle slash entrepreneurship tip. So again, if you're thinking about going into consulting or freelancing or gig work or just launching a little bit of something on the side, compare what you're offering to what others offer. I know when I first got into resumes, everybody seemed like they were doing the same thing. So originally, like my first website, the like I designed my packages in a way that was like a what did I call it? Like almost like a movie. Like, if people were getting a cover letter, I called it like the opening show or the credits or something like that. So I kind of put my own little spin on it. I've modernized it, of course. It's not as fancy, but figure out what others offer and compare it to what you offer, what you're going to offer, and then use other people as inspiration, but do not feel compelled to copy them. This is a biggie. So you are an individual. They're doing what they're doing. They're the professionals that they are. You are you. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you special. Make sure you hone in on that and put your own little spin on it. Be yourself. Do your research, especially when it comes to creating content. I feel like Instagram, TikTok, like we all see the same type of aesthetic now. We have the soft girl aesthetic, we got the fitness people, we got the travel people, and there's just a certain look that everybody has now. But if you don't want to follow that crowd, create your content in your own way, which again is what I did. I feel like everybody in resumes just post tips all day. I chose to, turn my travel videos and pictures into content that drives my resume information. So
Mhm.
find out a way to put your own special sauce on stuff.
You won't know how to be unique until you look at kind of the landscape and say, this is how I can stand out because I don't see it. We
Mm-hmm.
talk on our channel about the whole reason why my husband and I are doing this is we were looking for Black couples that were moving abroad. There wasn't a lot of content for that. So that's how I feel like we stand out. It didn't feel like it made it made a difference, but I know when you can be what you are looking for, somebody else, there are probably lots of other people that are looking for the same thing. So excellent,
Definitely.
excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Whew, so we about to get started,
Yeah.
getting started because you can stay in this research loop in
Mm-hmm.
this, I don't have quite, there's especially African Americans that we've been taught education is how you're going to be able to get that other job. Y'all, that is
Mm-hmm.
not the way. What I have found is I probably could have skipped a whole lot of debt
Yeah.
by
Oh yeah.
just honing skills and not
Yeah.
sitting in somebody's classroom because classroom did not teach me what I really needed for the job. It honed some skills, research skills, presentation skills, kind of that mindset, but
Mm-hmm.
more education isn't necessarily going to get you. People are going to want to see what you've done. So
What you
you've
can
got
do.
to
Yeah.
start. You've got to start.
Agreed. And I relate. I'm a type A personality. So I'm very like, have to have all my I's dotted, T's crossed before I make a move. I don't know if anybody in here is also big on zodiacs, but I am a Virgo. So it's like I'm an ultimate perfectionist. I can't do anything unless everything is perfectly aligned for me to do it. And I know, like I have started to get out of that. So I agree. Do all the research, yes, but at the end of the day, still make a move. Don't get discouraged too much about what you see if you don't meet everything. You can start working on some things that you don't know, but ultimately like get it started. So which is where we are. So the first thing is that, well, with again, starting a side hustle or something, set up your online profiles, and it's so easy to do, y'all. So whether it's Upwork, Fiverr, LinkedIn, maybe creating a business Instagram account or converting your personal into a business, like set up your online profiles, get started. You can also use these very same profiles for job searching. So as we all know,
Mhm.
LinkedIn is a massive platform at this point, which is so crazy because a couple of years ago, I felt like it was definitely the forgotten, um, the forgotten stepchild of the social media world. Now, I don't know what Microsoft did. They must have put a lot of money into marketing because LinkedIn is like the place to be now. Um, But create your LinkedIn profile, create your Facebook business page, like whatever. When it comes to getting job search or starting your job search, I would say start creating your profiles for job search platforms. What some people will do is they'll find a job and then they realize they have to create an account, and then they get irritated and they either click away, or they have to spend like an additional 20 minutes creating the account, the password, the username, creating the security question. Figure out which platforms you're going to use and create an account for all of them in one fell swoop. Stay logged into those so that way you can just submit. That's one thing that will trip a lot of people up. So to avoid that, just create all of your accounts at once. Maybe you make a day of it and say, Tuesday, I'm going to create all of my accounts for LinkedIn, Indeed, Career Builder, Monster, the companies that you want to apply to. Like, create all those accounts, save the password, stay logged in so that any application that you submit, you can just get them out quick and easy. For your side hustle or business, create a website or a landing page. Contrary to popular belief, you don't always have to create a website from the start.
Thank
Most
you.
people don't care. Especially when you're starting your business, most times your first batch of clients are going to be people you know, and then your second round of clients are going to be referrals from the people that you know. So
Mhm.
don't focus on a website, just focus on delivering a quality experience getting started. Consider creating a landing page. That's always an easy alternative that I recommend to people. And then start posting and sharing content, or just start, sending your resume out. Um, I recommend a landing page for a job search as a marketer, just because it gives you something extra to put on your resume, aside from your phone number and your email address and your LinkedIn if you have one. And on that page, you can have, like, career call out, some information about you, things that make you special, etc. This is actually not like a plug or anything, but this is a service that I'm actually going to start offering, because I feel like it's really important for professionals to know how to brand themselves and to create some sort of a digital something that serves as a resource that people can go to learn more information about them and what they've accomplished in their career. Because as we all know, on our resumes, we can only put so much. And recruiters will take a look at social media profiles, but they don't get down to the nitty gritty and things like that.
Mhm.
Next on the list will be focus on making baby steps first. Don't focus on being perfect or things being perfect, but make small steps to improve or optimize over time. So even with your job search, the first round of interviews, maybe you don't get the job offer, but ask for feedback. Take that feedback to heart and start implementing it into your next round of interviews, and just focus on getting better, not being perfect. I know the goal is to get the clients and the goal is to, get the job, but understand that it's a journey and it's going to take some time to get there. We're not all going to one and done a job interview. Like, I know in my last job search, oh my gosh, I think I interviewed with like 10 different companies that had 2 or 3 rounds each, and it was brutal. But when I did get the 3 or 4 offers that I did get from the companies that I did get the offers from, it just made it way more, it made it worth it. So take your time, take baby steps, make small steps, focus on getting started first and then scaling. So with your job search, take those first couple of interviews as practice, if you will. And by that fourth, fifth, seventh, and forward interview that you go on, you should like have it in the bag. Start with what you can manage. So I know it's so easy to just crank out job applications, but understand that you have to interview for those jobs, right? So what I recommend is for people to set a number of how many jobs they plan to apply to during a week, because once you start getting all those interviews in, which you should, if your resume is on point and is saying what it should say, you want to have your calendar stacked to interviews, but keep in mind how that's going to affect your calendar. So you may have one day where you have 3, 4 interviews back to back, which is something that happened to me. And I just scheduled, all my interviews from like 12 to 3. I had quit my last job at the time, so my schedule was wide open, luckily. But if I wasn't working full time, I was like, or if I was working full time, it's like, oh my gosh, I got 3 interviews today and I only have 1 lunch break. So keep in mind, when you're shipping out those applications, just know that when those interviews requests start rolling in, just make sure that you are able to schedule them and organize them accordingly with that business. Understand what you can manage when you're getting started. For example, with myself, I still work a full-time job while managing a business. I have a cap on the number of clients that I accept every single month. I have a cap on the number of resumes that I do every month. I have a cap on the number of presentations that I give, because I know that I still have a 9 to 5, which is technically a 6 to 6 if you talk about waking up early and eating breakfast and all, you know, all the stuff that comes a full scale. It's not a 9 to 5. It's really a 6 to 6, but I digress. Keep things simple, right? When you're beginning, and then implement small changes again using feedback that you either receive from your first batch of clients or from the first batch of hiring managers or recruiters that you meet with.
Girl, this part right here, this writing a winning resume,
Mm-hmm.
this is where, if you haven't done it in a while, she's given like the key things that, as I've been looking at who's talking about this, reverse chronicle, reverse chronicle format. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
people weren't adding their address to the
Oh yeah,
resume
yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
Even though, and those of us who have been working for 20 years, y'all, they don't need to know that your first job was as a babysitter or, for me, a lifeguard. They're really just looking at what is the most
yeah,
critical
yeah.
to understand, that you have the skills to do this one particular job. Bullet points instead of paragraphs, because you're thinking, because
Yes.
what
Mhm.
when I read this part of what you were sharing about how how the modern resume should look, it really is thinking about the recruiter. This
Mhm.
person is spending something like 7 seconds to decide, are you the person? So the
Mhm.
layout is so important. Using bold to identify those keywords, so their eye naturally goes to the parts that they're already looking for, that it is
Mhm.
laid out well. What I wanted to ask when I was looking at these resume rules,
Mhm.
things that I think about is, am I trying to hide my identity? If they see that I went to an HBCU,
Oh, okay. Okay.
is that the, you know, they take a deep breath, because we know that bias exists. And
Yeah.
we know that the resume review process can
Mhm.
be a biased
Space.
experience. So
Mhm.
when we're thinking about these modern resume rules, how are we thinking about that as people of color, that keeps us
Mhm.
in the game?
Oh, such a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. I I'm going to be bold and unapologetic here, but I'm going to say don't hide anything. If you um like my name, for example, Tamika, I mean, we all know it's a Black name. I used to hide my name. I used to use my middle name for my resume instead. But what I realized is that by hiding my name and playing those type of games, I'm attracting the wrong type of company. And I could find myself in the worst type of company, the most toxic place. So if me attending an HBCU, having a Black name, serving on the Black Student Union, or, marching at the Black Lives Matter, if it's on your resume, don't hide anything culturally. If they're going to be biased, if they're going to discriminate, if they're going to be racist, let them do it. That's not a place that you would want to be. Um, and that was a hard pill for me to swallow, but it's the truth. If you have to hide, I mean, I feel like as African Americans, we already have code switching, we already have the hair stuff, we already have so many different layers of ourselves that we have to tame or subdue, or kind of keep away. Those things from the start, like, no. And if you get to the interview and you feel as though, of course, there's been any type of mistreatment of you because of discrimination, highly recommend filing a lawsuit. Like, if you can prove it, go after them. Advocate for yourself. That's also something that I've had to learn, especially coming into my career in my 30s, to learn how to advocate for myself and call these jobs out. And it sounds like a lot, but I feel like that's where calling these jobs out and holding them accountable and saying, no, you were dead wrong for this or that, is how we were able to get that law around, like, what's the law that says, like, discriminating, disqualifying a candidate or a job based off of a Black person's hairstyle is now illegal in certain states. Like that's how we got here. So if you feel like you have to hide your HBCU or abbreviate your name or hide your name or shorten your name, don't you probably don't want to be there. Don't apply to the job, or if you feel as though there's been any bias, don't take the interview. I know that's so much easier said than done, but my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd want to know on this side instead of I've hidden those things and now I go to work for you and now I could have sidestepped it while I was
Mhm.
still in the driver's seat.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then you're miserable. Yeah. I did it. I worked one job in particular early in the beginning of my career, and I pressed my hair out all the time, like every single day. Hair was just bone straight. And of course, my hair was so ridiculously damaged, neither here nor there. But of course, when I decided to go natural and I started coming into work with, the Afro Puff and my TWA, it was all these confused stares like, oh, Tamika, what is she? No, 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 I can't be myself here. I've given you all a version of me, and now you all are
Mm.
comfortable with that version of me. And now I can't ever navigate from that because now you're used to that version of me, and I'm evolving now. And so I quit. I found a better job and I
Absolutely.
quit.
I'm a proud HBCU grad.
Mhm.
It's Black History Month, baby. I thought I'd add that into the conversation because there there is a lot of concern. There has been concern in the past. I guess I can say that. And so even with age, hmm, what a lot of us are doing, and I'm just going to share my experience, is I make sure I keep new certifications. I have new training so that all of my things aren't just from college, that I've got new trainings. I've got so that I can show that even if age is a question, that
Mhm.
I'm still at the top of my game. I'm still using the most relevant tools that are available in my industry. So
Mhm.
we talked a little bit about writing for the client,
Mhm.
and I love how you are centering this conversation with thinking about it from an entrepreneur standpoint, but also look, you know, someone is putting out a position because they've got problems that need to be solved. They've
Yeah.
got not just a position that open, but they need to know that someone is going to take things competently off of the plate of the manager, or they're going to be able to centralize this process, create efficiencies, cost savings. And so thinking about how can my resume show that is what I see in this slide.
Mhm. Definitely. And that's exactly the viewpoint that I wanted to create this slide for. So whether you are again creating your resume to get your business started, or whether you're creating your resume to transition into a new career field, consider the document a problem solving document, a marketing document, because at the end of the day, when you're applying to that job or when you're starting this business, you're saying, I can do what you need done. Here's what I can do. Here's how I can come in and fix this. Here's how I can come in and, improve your sales, sell your product, protect your company from digital or cyber, threats. Like from the position, it's like, what problem do you solve? How can I help you? How can you help them? And are you the right person for that? So when a recruiter is reading a resume, scanning it, they want to know, can you do the job? Are you equipped with the right skills? Do you have the background? They're not reading it, to say, "Oh, let me learn more about this person." And no, they're trying to fill a need, and the need is the position for the company and the purpose that it serves. So make sure that you're writing your resume from that standpoint. Are you the right person? Do you know what you're doing? Include all of the information that is going to make you appear the best qualified person that they should call. And when we think about the things that they're looking for, of course, it's the years of experience, it's your success rate and your track record and your accomplishments. In any industry, figure out whatever that pain point is and write your resume from the perspective of that. So, again, using myself as an example, I'm in marketing. businesses need a marketing person, it's to sell, it's to make money, generate traffic, bring people in the door, get people to the website, get more eyes on the website, or whatever it is. So I have to write my resume knowing exactly what a manager or a department head is going to want from me. Bonus tip, put yourself in the client's shoes or the recruiter's shoes, and then ask yourself, plain and simple, why is somebody going to hire me? Why is somebody going to call me after reading this document? Like, why? Write it from that perspective.
Going straight into the next slide is, I mean, those relatable skills. And I love that you know, a lot of us are thinking about the hard skills, the technology skills, but soft skills, y'all, that you know how to talk to people, that you know how to listen
Yes.
effectively, listen to for listening's sake and not to drive them to a solution, a product or service, that you're really taking in why is this a pain point and helping them to solve it, or helping to see how they can engage. the the resume is highlighting you, but it is really for them to see that you are a full whole person. And that's how highlighting our abilities, our experiences, our skills. I and so I almost want to say, if you fail to put the soft skills, you're not giving a full perspective of yourself. And it's, I kind of see that that's lacking. In a lot of employees, they're having to learn those skills. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nice to be able to see, because anybody can come in with hard skills. Anybody can come in with, I feel like those are the check boxes. Soft skills have been developed over the time.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. Skills are, I mean, education is very important, right? But as we
Yeah,
all know, or what we've come to realize now, is that it's not everything. In some
right.
fields and some jobs, yes, education is really important. Being a doctor, legal, but for other positions, it really boils down to the skills. What do you know how to do? Can you do the job? Do you have the abilities to do this job successfully? You have your soft and your transferable skills, which are pretty much applicable to any industry, and that includes communication, organization. What's another one? I'm drawing a blank. Oh my goodness. No, I said organization. Oh, I can't think. I'm having a brain fart, y'all. But you get the gist of it, right? So just those soft skills that no matter what job you take, you're going to be doing those core 6 or 7 things. So abilities that will enable you to complete projects or be successful in the role. Of course, you have your technology, which is a really big factor now, especially if you're talking about going for jobs that are remote in any capacity. So do you know the project management tools? Are you good with video conferencing software? Do you know any type of CRM or CLM systems, any type
Mhm.
of approval, databases, all types of things? Can you work with technology? Because if we are hopefully living abroad and we're working virtually in the US or from wherever where there is no commute or a minimal commute, software technology is going to play a really big part. Are you able to utilize all devices, all technology to be able to perform your job? Soft skills. Oh, there we go. Organization, communication, time management, project management, prioritization is a really big one.
Change
Collaboration,
management.
change
Change management is
management.
showing up a lot,
Mm-hmm.
in some of the positions that I've been looking at,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of companies are going through a transformative process, or are learning the lessons of, we need people who can help people transition, um, and can do that competently. They can think, how does what I do relate to others?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we prepare people to go from one system or one process to another? That's a soft skill that is very valuable,
Mm-hmm.
that I've seen. W's Secrets to Success vlog has been putting in the good comments about, and I want to say thank you also for their super sticker. But I just, this idea here, and I'm going to throw this forward because discrimination, those who are gatekeepers, isn't just those outside of our community. It can be those that we would consider to be someone that we identify with. As a woman, it may be another woman. If I'm African American, it could be another African American. And people do that from different places.
Mhm, mhm.
Within themselves, they're putting forward this. Um, how do you feel like you would help someone to think about navigating that as well, or is that an issue we need to be concerned about?
I would say don't be concerned about it. If there, I'm such a big believer of whatever will be, will be. Someone can't gatekeep me from something that's not meant for me. If I'm not
Mhm.
supposed to be at this job, if it's not aligned for me, I'm not going to be there anywhere. So hold on to it however way you wish because it's not, destined for me. However, again, continue to advocate for yourself. And if you do feel as though someone has done something, against you to prevent you, reach out to the higher ups. I've been talking with your recruiter and da da da, hold them to the fire. A and oh my gosh, I just did a video on this on my YouTube channel, you guys, talking about toxic managers. I had a person I was interviewing with at the time, ask me, it's not necessarily related to race or anything, but I was younger at the time and she asked me if I plan on having children anytime soon. Because I'm assuming that, they didn't want somebody coming in the door who was going to be going on maternity leave, which terrible, toxic, and
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 illegal,
illegal
it is
and
an illegal
illegal.
question. Mhm.
Yes, and I was so taken aback. I reached out to, whoever I reached out to corporate. Like I went higher. I found out the company information and sent an email because, get her. She's out of pocket over here. Get her together.
She's putting you at risk. Somebody might
Yeah.
have to pay.
Yeah, like, you might want to check this one on there, flag this one right here. You gotta handle that. She might get you in a lawsuit. I'm being
That's
nice.
it.
And that's a really good point, Tasha, of knowing like the questions that recruiters can and can't ask, because a lot of people don't know their rights as a job
Mhm.
seeker, even though we have very many. But if you don't know when those bounds are overstepped, of course you're not going to take action. But no, if you feel as though you have been discriminated against, send an email, write an email, send a letter. Look, go on Twitter, because look, if something catches fire on Twitter, child,
Woo!
let Black Twitter handle it. Black Twitter will handle it. Put it on Twitter.
For sure. I the numbers, and this is where there are those of us who work in industries where metrics, we are defined by
Mhm,
metrics, and then
mhm,
there are other fields where it doesn't seem as clear. So when you're working in customer service, they have number of calls, what do you call that, customer satisfaction numbers. What if
mhm.
these things aren't as clear? How can you create opportunities that give you metrics to be able to add to your resume? Because ROI isn't always available. I can't chart that what I'm doing is saving the company X
Mm,
amount of dollars. So those of us who might be in those, they don't clearly see where numbers are visible or used. How can they still incorporate that to give clarity, like you were mentioning at the beginning, give clarity so that the person that's reading the resume understands what you do?
sure. So I would say everybody has a number that they can tie to something. I understand that it may be hard to tie a number to organizational or company impact, depending on your role or with where you sit in the company. For example, in my
Mhm.
last job, I was pretty much on the front lines and it was a small company. I had access to systems that would show the campaigns that I developed and how much money, was sold in products as a result of emails and stuff. Now, the position I'm in is very matrix, it's very nuanced, and I don't have access to that data. But I would encourage you to use your performance evaluations, number one. So when you have your one-on-one calls with your manager, with your director, what are they judging you on? What are the key things that you all are discussing? What are they giving you 3 out of 4s on or 4 out of 4s on, right? And then include numbers for your tasks. So again, if you can't say that the calls that you took 2,000 calls and those calls in general save the department all this money, you can still say that you processed 2,000 calls and that you achieved, or exceeded whatever goal you were supposed to hit. So you took 2,000, but the benchmark was only 1,000. Well, now you've exceeded the goal, you've doubled your goal or fit by 50% or whatever. So you can
Mhm.
kind of do the math yourself in terms of tasks. Other things that you can include a number to are what you manage. So in mid-level positions, include your team members, the number of projects you work on. And I know projects sometimes gets thrown around, but if you're rolling something out, if you're helping the company implement something, you're standing something up, that is a project. So if you've helped the department, manage 4 new service offers, you've helped rolled out new service offers or something like that, include numbers in what you do. So if you manage 50 team members, 100 team members, you brought on 300 team members, processes, maybe you manage a 6-step, approval process for your
Mhm.
department. So it doesn't always, if you can't tie it to an organizational impact, that's fine. And try to include a number into your tasks. And then oftentimes you can ask your manager. So you can always say, hey boss, what was the result of, the last project that we just did? How's that performing? Even if you don't know the outcome or if you don't have access to viewing the direct outcome, someone somewhere has it because you didn't do it
Mhm.
for anything, right?
Mhm.
So ask some questions. If you have access to some systems, dig into those if you can.
Yep. And this just flows really well into this idea of impact. And
Hmm.
I think some of us don't realize, that yes, my head is down, I'm doing the things, but what I do rolls up into something someone is getting credit for. And
Hmm.
this impact question, I'm going to be selfish. When I do
Okay.
a team project,
Hmm.
how do I can't take credit for what my team does on my resume
Hmm.
as an or can I on an impact? So I can say I contributed X that rolled
Hmm.
up into something, but sometimes I feel some kind of way like, yeah, I might produce the newsletter that goes out to all 105,000 employees, but I wasn't the only person that put the newsletter together. Tell
Hmm.
me about how we should truthfully
Hmm.
show our contribution, especially if it didn't, if I led a project, so people under me helped me to be able to make this accomplishment that I want to put on my resume or my evaluation.
Yeah, really great question, Dee. There's nothing wrong with saying assisted with or helped with or was part of a team that ABC. That shows collaboration, that shows teamwork, that shows team player. I'm a big fan of this. Instead of saying team player or saying collaboration, give examples of how you did that. So you can give a one sentence overview of what the thing was. So was part of a team that assisted in the rollout of X. And then as clearly as you can and as succinctly as you can, state your part of it. So were you in charge of coordinating that email? Were you in charge of loading it into the system? Were you in charge of proofreading it to make sure that there were no errors? And if so, think larger scale. How many newsletters did you help produce? And then try to tie that number to it and saying how many errors did you help prevent with those newsletters? What was the open rate of those email newsletters overall? So I always encourage people, write that first 1 to 2 sentence, get the thought out, and then
Mhm.
think bigger and bigger. Add that number to it, add the impact to it. Just continue to expand the bigger picture so that the sentence has that value in it. It says why it matters, and it also includes your part in it.
Excellent. Excellent. Testimonials.
Mm,
So I, I mm, the brag. I want to go back to what Tasha talked about earlier.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's women and Black. We just don't feel confident in saying, I did this. I did this.
I,
But,
me, yeah.
but
My, yeah.
you should be capturing, and companies are doing more of this. I'm going to tell you why, because my manager is doubling down on one of the job satisfaction questions was about, my manager acknowledges when I have an accomplishment or when I do a good job. I know it because they say it. They are building in so many levels of this for us to be able to congratulate each other on a call, to actually they purchased this whole, it's called Bravo system,
Mm-hmm.
where you can send an e-card and it's visible throughout the company to be able to see when someone is congratulating you. But you should capture those, just from this, that not only for a resume, but your performance reviews and others. So being thoughtful about sharing that with someone, like I need to give out testimonials, but also go out there and capture them. When you've collaborated, ask for a testimonial. I mean, ask,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can you document for me the contribution that you felt, that if you felt like you did a good job, it's okay. Is it okay to ask for that? I'm hearing that you should.
You should, absolutely. And I would say, I would go as far as to say something that you can do is have people leave recommendations for you on LinkedIn. So when it's appropriate time wise, so like after 6 months of working someone, after you finished a project and you know you've done a great job, have someone leave you a recommendation or LinkedIn, or just say, hey, do you mind typing me out a quick, a quick couple of sentences on a good, the reason why I did such a good job on this, why you enjoyed working with me, etc., and infuse that into your resume. Most people think that you can't include things like that, but you can, because it adds an extra oomph. And if you have it on LinkedIn, of course, it's like a bonus. And I believe I have maybe 43 recommendations on my LinkedIn. And so if you're talking about optimizing your profile on there, that's definitely a number one way to do it. But it also just adds affirmation to the document. So I have written statements that people have said that I'm great at what I do. And there's a way that you can include graphics on your resume, graphically, so that it still is laid out really neat and nice. But that's a good way. Or if you create that branded landing page, you can include a ton of testimonials from past bosses, colleagues, team members. Like, I am a big fan of never leaving your job without any type of good word or reference that you can take away, because that's going to help you get your next job, you know?
Yep. Don't burn those bridges. That was one of the questions on Reddit was, I don't like my job and I've got another job. And everyone was saying, don't burn those bridges. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
You never know if you have to go back, but also these people can serve as a reference, and they're going to pay attention to you as you walk out the door,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Girl, you have given and given and given to Mika tonight. Y'all, please say thank you. There are lots of thank yous in the chat already.
Yes.
The
Thank
resume
you.
writing process, trust me, it's like nails on a chalkboard, but you have given some solid, specific things that I can do, that we can do to help it be better in this crazy. The unemployment is at an all-time low generally
Mm-hmm.
within the Black community. It's definitely higher than the national average, but I still believe if there is a position, when you put yourself in in the right places.
Mm-hmm.
Document well the value that you are. There's a place. There is a place for us. Sometimes it's out there. But
Mm-hmm.
as Tamika has shown us, you have a skill, you have a talent. We want to give you our money. I want to
Mm-hmm.
give Tamika my money.
Yay! Goal accomplished.
I want to give Tamika my money because I see she understands that she has the skills. You have the skills to capture either as an entrepreneur and as a productive employee. Let's get out here with confidence and boldness. We hadn't just lived, y'all. We have had experiences that can work really well for employers. Let's get out there and let's do it.
Yes.
This is how you all can find. Um, uh, let's see. So it's Mika Thomas at Mika Thompson. I
Mm-hmm.
said Thomas Thompson
Okay.
on YouTube. That's how the
Yes.
algorithm served up my best connection so far,
I
as well
love it.
as so many others. So this is, and in the description of this video, I
Mm-hmm.
have how you can find her as well. So you've also listed your emails and all of that. Can
Mm-hmm.
you talk a little bit about? I saw your packages. When I saw you will write it, baby, let me just hand you my money. Let me
I
just.
am Chat GPT, you guys. Yeah. So the process, it starts with people visiting my website, of course. It's www.thompsonresumes.com. And I offer a couple of different tiers. So entry-level professionals, that's people who are either fresh out of college or who are career transitioning. So if you've been in one field for a while, but you're looking to go into something new, obviously the document is going to read or be a little bit different. So I have entry level, mid level, and then management level professionals that I offer on there. The pricing is different, that varies on the tier. Once you submit the form on my website, we start out with a virtual or a Zoom consultation. I do about a 30-minute call just to dig a little bit deeper into the type of positions that you want to go for and why, the type of pay that you're looking for. Like, I get all of the details because all of that comes into play when it comes to writing the document, because I don't want to be writing, a management level resume that wants to get someone a six-figure job. If I just want to make sure I have all of the information and that it reads as it should.
Mhm.
And then I do write the document. So it takes about 7 to 10 business days for me to create the very first draft. I design it, lay it out. I do a full 180. So it's not just a simple rewrite. I don't do light rewrites or light edits. I do a full top to bottom, end to end revamp of it. I choose the design, the layout, and I rewrite everything. I do all of the keyword research, and then we review the first draft together. You let me know what you do like, what you don't like. After that, I make those changes. I finalize the document, and it is yours, and you can head off into your job search. So the process takes about 10 to 12 business days, depending on how our people's schedule aligns and meeting up and things like that. But it's a very simple process. I make sure to tailor the document to 3 to 5 different jobs. So if you're sending me one job position, I'm still doing additional research to find out other jobs that this role is conducive with, so that you have you can diversify your job search much better. But yeah, AI systems are good, but highly recommend working with a resume writing professional, because at the end of the day, grammatically and word wise, it still needs to be like top notch and A1, and it still needs to sound like a human. So, highly recommend using resume writers. There are so many different tools and resources that you have at your disposal, but I love working with people one-on-one and helping them. I also do LinkedIn profile optimizations and creations as well.
Awesome. I'm so glad to have met you. And I
Likewise.
know that we'll probably have to have you come back.
Yes, I was gonna say, and we'll need to chat more, because now that I've gotten into travel, like I see the person in the chat was saying they went to Thailand. That's on my list. I just came from Jamaica and Aruba, got my whole life. So every time I leave the country, I'm like, I think can I like leave and not come back though? Can we make this
Oh,
a one-way ticket very soon?
absolutely. Absolutely. It's out there, y'all. Let's go get it. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Dee from H&D Abroad. Please go and subscribe to Mika Thompson's YouTube page.
Yes, I'm so close to my first 1,000 subscribers, you guys. Help
She
me out.
is so close.
And
Please help
there's
her
so
over.
much, yes, and there's so much great information on there. I mean, once you guys go to the page and take a look, I have, the words that you should have on your resume, fluff words, how far back, there's I have 200 videos on just straight, really good resume information. I do live streams once a month that are
Mhm.
resume critiques. So please check out the channel, you guys. It's full of a lot of great information.
Absolutely. Like, share, subscribe to H&D Abroad. Y'all have a good one. And thank you so much for joining. Stay behind. Mika will tie up at the end.
For sure. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.